Hello, parents and students. I'm just wanting to give you an introduction to our flexible math tutoring plan for those that would like to have a little bit more of a math practice but is not available to them for the morning or after school tutoring because you want maybe a more flexible schedule or we didn't have room. Um, and I think this is a great program for a lot of students. Some of us need more time to just process and think about how the problems are done. So I think this will be really good. And unfortunately, we only have so much time in the school day. So this will be great for some of those that maybe just need a little bit more time to think through some of the processes that we do during math. In our math plan, there's 3 parts that I'd like to see students doing at home. First of all would be flashcards, the ISE, which stands for Interactive Student Edition, and then understanding story problems will be the third thing that I would like to see students do. The first thing with flashcards, the math facts are going to be hugely helpful if you can get those mastered and done quickly. The sooner you can get those done, the more brain power you have to do the other things and learn the new concepts. If you aren't spending your time thinking about those math facts, you'll be able to spend your time thinking about the other processes, which would be very beneficial for you. If you're wanting to do this flexible plan, I'd like to see students working on flashcards for 5 to 10 minutes before they start their regular math. If you have actual physical flashcards, there's kind of a rule of thumb that I'd like to see students doing. If you've got the problem in front of you, if you're able to answer it in less than 3 seconds, you just put the card to the side and discard it as a mastered fact. If you find a card that takes you longer than 3 seconds, stick it back in the deck, maybe just a few cards behind the one that you're working on, so that it shows up again quickly. And as you go through the deck, continue to do that with any problems that you are having a struggle with. This will then allow you to see that card frequently and then gradually over time master it. You may also not want to start with the entire deck of cards. If you want to start small and wait till you master a chunk of 10 or 15 before you move on to the next chunk, that can be helpful as well. Also, there's so many flashcard apps out there. If you don't have physical flashcards, but you have a phone or a tablet or something that you can do an app, there are a lot of them out there. And this is something that you can easily do in any of the times if you're sitting in the car or you're waiting somewhere or you're, any time you have a few spare minutes, this is something you could easily do. But also, if you don't have flashcards and you don't have a phone, I think that it's very easy for you to simply go through the different facts in your head. So just start going through your 3 times tables and thinking about each fact and then trying to memorize them as you go and continue to go through the different facts, and simply you can do it in your head. You don't even need anything. So that's something you can do as well. The next thing I want to explain to you is the Interactive Student Edition. This is what we will have available for all students that allows them to go through and hear the lesson again for a second time. Now, usually during class, I will explain it to them in my own words, but there is this great little lizard guy who can go through the lesson for them. And I'm going to exit out of this PowerPoint and just show you really quickly what that looks like. But first of all, your students, when they log into their Think Central, they'll go to apps.ccsdut.net, and they do this every day, so they should be able to do it just fine at home. It's available on tablets as well as a computer. But they will click on My Library, and within My Library, there's this little yellow icon that says Interactive Student Edition, and you can click on that, and it allows you to pick whatever lesson that you want to work on, and then you'll see this little gecko guy, and if you see him, you know you did the right thing. So you can go through these presentations and then the lessons, and I'm going to show you really quickly what that would look like as you go in. When you're in the Interactive Student Edition, I can come here, grade 5. You should already be assigned to grade 5. You'll come through, see all these different icons. There's a lot of different options you can explore as well. But once you get in here, you'll see this little guy. He's kind of loud on my computer, so I'm going to turn it down really quick. But then you can pick any of these. Now, my newsletter that I send at the beginning of every week should have a list of the lessons that we're going to cover that week, so you should know ahead of time what you're covering. But it really wouldn't hurt you to go back to old material and information that we've done before. But if you've forgotten and you don't have the newsletter, you feel free to email me or text me. I usually get them fairly quickly, and I can let you know where we are. So right now we're in Chapter 3, but you can go to Chapter 2, click on it, and you'll see it load, and it'll come up with all this stuff here. Now I'm going to turn this off. But how do you solve and check division problems? Now you'll notice this navigation that's here at the bottom. It starts here and it just gives a brief introduction, and then it goes into a little further detail. As you get here, it lets you try to do a few with them, and it's interactive, so it's asking you to click on things and do things while you're going through. As you get to these last two, and I'll show you, you get to this personal math trainer. Now, I give this orange personal math trainer every day as a quiz, and it's 2 problems or 3 that they'll get to do. That does not give them a chance to check their answers, and it's just a quick quiz to see how they're doing. This one is more like their homework, and this is exactly like their homework with just slightly different numbers. And as they go through here, they will get different features, like being able to check their answer. They can view an example, they can see step-by-step processes, and it can guide them through it, and they can try multiple different questions to see how they do. This is an excellent resource, and we found that as we've gone through it a little bit this year, that the students that have gone through this have done much better on the test. So we're excited about having this available. If you want, you can even print it out and have those available to you that way as well. If you do not have access to internet, or the computer at your home is busy or something like that, I am more than happy to provide you with the printed homework and can send those home for you to work on them on paper as well. So this is a great option for you, but if it's not available, if you don't have the computer, then let me know, and I would be glad to put packets together for the students that would like to do this at home but maybe don't have the internet. Or you could even have both. So that's the Interactive Student Edition and how you can get through that. If at any point you have questions or anything that you need to go through with me, let me know. The last thing I would really like to see students that are working with this at home is understanding the story problems. Many students that I find miss problems really are not understanding what it's asking when they begin with. For example, read the entire problem. 2 Pony Express riders each rode part of a 312-mile trip. Each rider rode the same number of miles. They changed horses every 13 miles. How many horses did each rider use? So in this case, they would have to be able to put this through, underline the question. They want to know how many horses there were. If they changed every 13 miles in a 312 mile, they would need to know that there's 2 Pony Express riders in this trip. So they'd need to divide by the 2 and then into the 13 miles. So read each sentence as you go through. A lot of those questions that are in the homework and there will have story problems. Read each sentence one at a time. Really pay attention to what's going on right there. And then one thing I always have students do is, when in doubt, draw it out. If you need to draw 2 different riders and show that they're going to go 312 miles, show that they switch every 13 miles as they go through, then they might be able to visualize better what's actually going on. So that would be the last bit I would like to see students do if they are trying to do this flexible tutoring at home. I believe that overall, between studying the math facts, doing the Interactive Student Edition, and going over maybe 5 minutes of trying to understand different story problems, I think you should be able to get this done in about a half an hour. You may take a little bit longer if you want to do more of the homework problems or more and need more practice, but I think that overall this should be a good process for you. So if you have any questions, again, feel free to text me or email me, but I think this will be a good program for you.